And next item, Jackasses of the Week Award. Despite there being several other novel attempts, it goes to the state of Virginia. Well, that state does house Langley, so should we be surprised? Not really. In their wisdom, or crass stupidity and clownery, online virtual classrooms in the state of Virginia are now requiring students who attend online to be immunized against various illnesses, despite the fact that the pupils will be taking classes from the comfort of their own home, in what can only be considered as a blatant push to inject poisonous toxins and metals into the bodies of the school children. And the unconstitutional order comes after a high number of parents, I might add, have refused to take their children to get their standard yearly cocktail dose of vaccines, which during a non-COVID school year would allow students to attend school physically. Now, the rumour has it parents are concerned about taking their children to get vaccines due to the current purported COVID-19 outbreak. However, people in general may be just waking up to the real dangers of vaccines and may just be to the point where they are outright refusing them altogether, which is a good move. But when the EPA state that being inside your home is 8 times or makes you 8 times more susceptible to viruses and bacteria than outside, I hope that parents that keep their children at home take their children out at regular intervals to avoid other sicknesses. So, these vaccines. Back in the 1960s, in America, I don't think it was the same in Europe, we had a combination of 2 or 3 vaccines. But now children in America are having 36 vaccines before the age of 6. Now, if all these vaccines worked, as they stated, why are so many Western people sick? Doesn't make much sense, does it? Why, if all these vaccines and medicines work, do Americans spend over $3.5 trillion per year on that profession and medicals, which is around 18% of GDP, if it all worked? 10% of that $3.5 trillion per year is on pharma drugs alone. And with that, the average cost per head of capita spent on medical expenses per year now is at $11,300 per year. So clearly, if all these vaccines and drugs worked as they say, A, people's health would improve, it's not, and B, the cost of medical would go down, not skyrocket. It hasn't though, has it? And clearly there's a major issue in connection with these so-called medical professions and their drug-dealing counterparts. And then we come to mental health issues, which is a real pandemic in America, none of which is addressed in the correct manner, and most of which is peddled by more drugs, again, which they say works, but figures are going up, not down, and so makes their claims mute. %19.1% of US adults experienced mental illness in 2018. 47.6 million people. 1 in 5 adults. 4.6% of US adults experienced serious mental illness in 2018. 11.4 million people. That's 1 in 25. 16.5% of US youth aged 6 through 17 experienced a mental health disorder in 2016. 7.7 million people. 3.7% of US adults experienced a co-occurring substance use disorder and mental illness in 2018. That's 9.2 million people. Those four totals is about 75 million. Just under 1 in 5. But the majority of mental health is caused by stress the old system puts us through, and is deliberate in its design to push people into taking their poisons. Keeping up with the Joneses and financial issues plays a large part in that factor, but there is a hidden and unspoken cause of much of mental health issues, which is never addressed by so-called mental health experts. The truth be known, there are no experts in any field, least of all medical. They call it a practice for a reason. And that issue is host possession and attachments, and is the major cause of mental health, in my opinion. So to round this all up, with illnesses like autism, dementia and Alzheimer's all now known to be caused by their vaccines and drugs, are you better off without them? Your choice.